is going to use English most of the time. If he
Okay.
needs help, I will translate for him.
Okay.
Okay.
And it's Director Chen?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
This is Douglas, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Yes.
And the other guy is Chen.
托玉券，我是陈柏宇，你好。
Okay, 陈柏宇。Okay.
对对对，我是负责影展的。
Okay.
Okay.
我开始录影了，跟你们说一下 ，I'm start recording.
Okay. All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Douglas Montgomery. I am the CEO and founder of Global Connects, a media consultancy that is performing different services around the world. I am also the executive producer and curator of the 2021 Taiwan Biennial Film Festival. I'm very honored and privileged today to be speaking with one of the directors from our wonderful festival. Our festival is meant to be a celebration of Taiwanese creativity and culture, and we have a fantastic lineup this year. The 2021 version of TBFF is a hybrid festival. One of the highlights is our opening night live US premiere of Man in Love, which will be held at the TCL Theater in Hollywood with a reception beforehand. Other highlights include the always popular short sections of our film festival. And we are also excited to have many different feature films along with Q&As from some of our directors. Today's special guest is Director Chen from the documentary Phil's Journey. Director Chen, can you tell us about yourself?
Yes, my name is Yeong Chen, and I'm come from Taichung of Taiwan, and I'm teaching in the University of Taiwan. So my full-time job is teaching, but also I'm a filmmaker. I produce documentary and film and fiction film for myself. Yes.
Okay. All right. So Phil's Journey.
Yes.
As I mentioned, I am the curator of the festival, and I made the choices of the films, and I chose Phil's Journey to be our documentary.
Mm-hmm.
I had a big long list, and the first thing I noticed is that this Taiwanese film, because it's a Taiwanese film festival, is called Phil's Journey, which to me didn't sound like Taiwan. So my question to you, Director Chen, is why did you choose this subject for your film?
Well, basically, it's a story about a New Zealander, Phil, and he came to Taiwan in 1998 to try to look for his son because his son was disappeared in Taiwan in the mountain of Alishan. Anyway, and however, when he doing the search, many Taiwanese people help him and also help him to search for his son. So at the end, here he gained love and friendship from many Taiwanese. And on this journey, he learned something, and at the end, he changed his thought and also he find something to balance his life. So this journey is very important. So I used his name and also the title is Phil's Journey. That's why we choose this title for this documentary.
How did you find the story? Was it famous in Taiwan, or were you looking?
It was very famous news in Taiwan in 1998. And however, I didn't notice this news at that time. And in 2012, I believe, I was in an airport. Because I'm going to mainland China to exchange some kind of academic exchange program. Anyway, I bought a book from an author, a writer, very famous writer in Taiwan called Liu Kexiang. And this book, the first story is about Phil. Then I knew, this is a good story, and it's good. There are two elements for this story. One is it's about Phil's love to his son because he traveled thousands of miles to Taiwan to look for his son. It's not easy, and also it's a great love of this father. It very touched me. And the other element to touch me is the kindness of Taiwanese. Many Taiwanese they help Phil without any reason. they just say, well, a New Zealander, he came to Taiwan to try to find his son, and most of them, they will feel some compassion to him, and so they try to help him. And this kind of story, to element, touch me, because the kindness of Taiwanese and also the great love of Phil. Yeah.
So that's you mentioned something interesting to me. I think you said the story was famous in 1998, but then you happened upon it in 2012. That's 14 years. That's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. It's a long time.
How does that story stay around for 14 years?
Well, because Phil in 1998, after the search of 1998, eventually he did not find his son. Very sad story. Anyway, but however, Phil, he had many friends at that time. Then he gained many friendships from Taiwanese. So every second year, or every several years, he would come back to Taiwan to visit his friends. So the story is continued to, even now it's 20 years later, he still came back to see his friend in Taiwan. So, and when I look at this story, it's it's not only a news. It's about human nature, about kindness, about friendship, about love from a father, and that's why I think it's a very common human nature, and I think it's for me, I always believe that the kindness is a human nature. So that's why I try to make this film. Yeah.
So you mentioned kindness, human nature, and these kind of things, and I can see your poster, and I can see all the laurels that the documentary has won. Do you find that if you wanted to explore human nature and kindness, that in one respect it is more real if it's a documentary as opposed to a fiction?
No, it's a documentary. It's for real, because the whole story is real. It's a true event.
Oh, sorry. My question means, is it easier for you as a filmmaker to show kindness in a documentary as opposed to show kindness in a fiction film? Because it's real. It's real. It's real emotion.
Well, it depends. For example, we can see last year there's one film called No Man Land, directed by the Koro Chow, I believe, and she made a film. It's I don't know, because he won the Academy Award for the best director of that film, and it's a fiction film, but it's also about some kind of kindness and of the people. And by documentary, it's a true event actually, and you can see, because when I made a documentary, I made some Taiwanese, those Phil's friends in Taiwan, and you can feel, and also you can see very clearly, they are very kind. Those people are very kind people, and also they are, the kindness from their heart. It's not a pretend or something. That's why I say, I always believe, Taiwanese, most of Taiwanese, they are very friendly and very kind, and this kind of nature, it comes from heart, not from, because McKenna is over there and they pretend. No, it's real. It's real. When you, especially when Phil and he interact with his friend, a Taiwanese friend, and you can see that.
Oh, as a viewer, absolutely, it was very real, and I'm a father. Actually, it's kind of hard to watch at times, to be honest, because you cannot help imagining if it was you, right?
Yes.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
No, please. Okay.
Yes, that's why I say it's because I'm a father too. I believe the most of the Phil's friends, the Taiwanese friends, they are father too, and they always, sometimes they will tell me, why. Sometimes I ask them the question, why you want to help Phil? They say, well, because I have your compassion. We have the same, because we are the same. We are father, and if someday my son disappear in somewhere in the other country, I will be very anxious, and especially different culture, different language, and if someone can help me, then they will be a great help, and that's why they help feel, and this kind of you know that's why my documentary try to represent this kind of relationship between Phil and his Taiwanese friend. Yes.
As the filmmaker,
Yes.
and as you said, also a father, you have to get very deeply involved in the movie. Obviously,
Yes.
did you personally struggle? I would. It'd be difficult for me.
Yes. Actually, I cried a couple times in the shooting scene. When they're talking about about Theo, when he's talking about how he lost his son, and also it's sometimes it's very sad. It's but however, it it depends. But actually, just like you said, as a father, it's sometimes struggle for me. Uh, but however, Phil he's a very open-minded person, and he say he sometimes he comforted me. I cry on the scene, and he comforted me because but I think this story is so important for me. It's not only the father's love to his son, and also it's what I say is about kindness, about friendship, and also about Taiwan. And I love Taiwan, and I believe Taiwanese they are very very kind and very friendly. That's why I try to let the other people, the people in the other country, they will understand. Taiwan is a very beautiful island and very beautiful country, and they are beautiful people there. And that's why I try to represent this kind of thing in my documentary. Yes.
So I'm actually going to bring my last question forward now, because you kind of hit upon the topic. Obviously, we are here for the Taiwan Biennial Film Festival. We're holding this here in Los Angeles, and as I mentioned earlier, in Hollywood. The purpose is to mix and bring closer together the Taiwanese creative community and Hollywood. So recently there are some big Asian hits around the world. Obviously, Squid Game, a very very different, very different from yours. But you mentioned a couple things. One, you want to show people and the world, the heart and the kindness of Taiwanese people, which I think is fantastic. That's wonderful. That completely fits within our film festival. Do you believe that now in 2021, the opportunity to show Taiwan to the world is easier, or it's better, or there's more opportunity?
I think it's a no matter when the show, because I always believe it's my face. It's my face about the kindness. It's a human nature. That's why even I know the Squid Game it's very popular now, and at the end I know even the movie at the end he's talking about this guy. Even he doing the again he had to do something very sometimes evil, sometimes cruel, but at the end he still is a very good person. And but for me, my documentary try to represent the good side of the human, and that's my face. I always believe that. I always believe that people of course people have good side and the evil side, but for me, I always believe the good side always win the evil side. And that's why I try to represent this movie. But I think this kind of thing is no matter when, even 20 years later, I still believe that kindness and good heart, it's always human nature. Yeah.
I absolutely believe so and hope so as well. The movie you mentioned, it's in the title, Journey.
Mhm.
You touched upon this a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
Some people could call this a road trip film.
Yes. Yes. Of
A road
course.
trip film often shows the concept that the road is more important than the destination.
Yes.
I know in my house that was a sign on the wall that about how the trip was much more important than the destination. I think that's probably something that's universal around the world.
Yes.
How is this concept used in Phil's journey?
Well, in this field journey, for example, it's a road trip movie genre. Absolutely, my documentary, because it's about Phil. He traveled from New Zealand to Taiwan, and even in Taiwan, he traveled around the island to try to look for his son. And yes, the trip always important than the destination. And even at the end, he did not find his son because his son was never found, in the search. And however, Phil, he changed his thought, and also he find something, some value, he believed, and he had some self growth. That's why he say he finds something balance his life because he say sadness and grief will bring him down, and something to balance that is friendship, great love, and also kindness. And also he learned something from Taiwanese because he say before he came to Taiwan, he never understand why Taiwanese they can get along with each other so well. And but when he came to Taiwan and had that journey, and he learned something because he learned the value of respect and love from Taiwanese. And he always say one word is there is no respect without love. And I always believe that. So this kind, I mean, Phil himself, he had done something during the journey. Even at the end, he did not find his son, and he transformed his love to his son, transformed into his love to Taiwan. Now he's the number one Taiwanese fan. He loved Taiwan so much, and so he came back to Taiwan every several years to visit his friend. So they have he and his Taiwanese friend, they have a long-term friendship, and it's not easy, And but I believe that he changed a lot during the search. Yes.
So you've kind of touched upon this in many of your answers.
Mhm.
You're trying to portray Taiwan, or Taiwanese people are kind and this kind of thing. When you're filming when you're filming Phil's journey, do you have two things in mind? Number one, we want to go on Phil's journey and see, how he experiences his state in life. But at the same time, are you conscious on how Taiwan is portrayed, knowing that this film will likely be seen outside of Taiwan? So you want to show Taiwan in a good light?
Yes, yes. That's one of the purpose I want to do to show the Taiwanese because sometimes I always say that Phil he is a mirror, to Taiwanese because when, for example, every day it's not easy to see yourself, if there is no mirror, and here is a mirror. That's only the time we can see ourselves when there's a mirror there, and the field is a mirror. So that's why when I represent, if I represent this movie to Taiwanese, and this documentary and field is the mirror, and they can see Taiwanese can see themselves. Yes, Taiwan, themselves is very beautiful, and very kind. Even they don't know sometimes, but if this documentary can be seen by many Taiwanese, they will understand, Taiwan is a very, very nice place, a very kind place, and very, a friendly place, and also a very beautiful place. And if they can see this documentary, yes.
I agree with you. I think it is, almost easier to see, if you're Taiwanese, it'd almost be easier to see how Taiwanese people are, through somebody else's eyes, particularly a foreigner, because it's new to the foreigner. where it would be, rather common to yourself, and it might be more hard to notice. I think that's a very interesting concept. The viewer of the film is transferred, quite deeply into Phil's psyche, his thoughts and memories, as Phil is also the narrator. Why did you choose Phil to be the narrator?
Well, it's most of the documentary they have some use the invisible narrator.
The voice of God.
Yes, you hear his voice or her voice anyway. You never seen this guy, and sometimes I think this kind of narrator will keep the audience and keep some distance between the audience and the film. Because the audience, when he can see this guy but only hear his voice, sometimes he cannot trust or maybe believe this document or this film. So I use Phil's be the narrator. I use his narration, and also he represent himself on the location of the event. And I believe this kind of skill will let the audience more believe and or trust this documentary. That's one of my strategy. Try to do that, and also I would like to let Phil to tell a story by himself, not by me. That's why I use this Phil as the narrator. Yes.
When you approached Phil about doing this film, what was his thoughts? Did he like the idea? Did he not like the idea? Did you have to, I don't like this phrase, talk him into it, but how did he feel?
Well, I first time I went to New Zealand to visit him in 2017. Yeah, 2017. That's 4 years ago. But before that, I contacted him first, and he asked me the same question: why I want to make this film. I explained to him, just as I said, I want to send his love to his son, and also the nature of the kindness of Taiwanese. And he after we discussed each other, he said, well, that's if my film is represent is something good for Taiwanese, he will do that. And of course, after my film finished, it's on this April this year, on the April this year, I showed him, and he loved it, and he liked it, because he say, of course, he say because his story is very big, and my film is only 90 minutes, and there are still many things we cannot tell in my documentary. But he say I show the most of the important element for his story, and he is very happy. Yeah.
It didn't bring out. He wasn't concerned it would bring out some painful memories, or he had truly, reached as much peace as he was going to.
Now he's a very peace. He's just as I say, he's a very open mind, and also he's a very optimistic person. He's a very optimistic person. That's why he can step out from his sadness and grief. And right now he always say he wants to be the Taiwanese friend forever, and every time when there's something, he will fight for Taiwan. If someone say, "Oh, Taiwan is a very big country" or something, he will fight for Taiwan. Because he so love Taiwan so much. It's actually I think it's very not easy. Sometimes I think about myself, if my son is lost in Taiwan, and would I love Taiwan too? But I think he stayed up. He transformed. I think he transformed his love to his son and transformed into his love to Taiwan. It's not easy, but he did it. He did it.
Yeah, that's was my thought too. Every time he hears the word Taiwan, does it bring back the unimaginable pain, right?
Yes.
That's incredible. Again, you obviously know him better than I, but your comment, like, he's a very optimistic person in general.
Mhm.
To me, that would be critical because
Yes.
it would be so easy to go the other way. He's a very
Yes.
special man.
Yes. That's why he is so charming, and
Mm.
and when I find out he is a very optimistic person and also very, sometimes charming and very so special, and he is he always smile to the other people, even in Taiwan when we shooting, he always smile to each other, and he is a person very easy to make friends to the other people. And that's why I think that's why he is so popular in Taiwan, and everybody want to help him. You know.
You are
Yeah.
muted, Doug.
Yeah. So I thought, like we said earlier, one other interesting point to me was how you're traveling around the island, and again, um, are you trying to show? Because the document is in English, right? So obviously it can be seen
Yes.
by
And
other countries'
90%,
people.
70% is English. Yes.
So it can become a bit of a travel video, right? Showing showing the best of Taiwan. Was that conscious for you?
Well, right now it's my documentary is still not showing in Taiwan yet, but we're going to have some distribution in the theater maybe at the end of this year or maybe the beginning of next year anyway. But we're going to distribute, I'm sorry, distribute this film in the theater of Taiwan. But right now, still not many people seen it yet. My documentary right now is I'm trying to attend many film festival in international and try to show my documentary in the other country. Actually, I got some many good feedback from many international film festival and they love this film, and some people will, they say they will touch by this kind of story, and even, and that's why I believe this documentary will be popular in Taiwan. I hope so. but let's see, because maybe at the end of this year we can, when this documentary is showing in Taiwan, and hope it can be popular. Yes.
Well, you can count the Taiwan Biennial Film Festival is also a fan of Phil's journey. The last question, we've kind of touched upon this a little bit. Your film, again, it's in English, so it can be shown fairly easily around the world. You have obviously, and you're posted there, many laurels.
Mhm.
What do you think the potential is for Taiwanese films to be more successful around the world?
Well, for me, I was educated in stage. Because I was in a film school of Boston University. When I was in Boston, and one time there's one chance, and one guy he asked me where you come from. I said I come from Taiwan. He said, "Oh, good. Thailand is very good." And I said, "Well, it's different. Taiwan and Thailand is different." That's mean many people they don't understand Taiwan. They even don't know where is Taiwan. Then I try to explain that Taiwan is, if you look at the map, Taiwan is between the Japan and Philippines, and Thailand is on the southeast of Asia, but it's different country, but most people are confused about. So I hope from this film they can, you know, if they look at this film, they will more understand the Taiwanese, people, Taiwanese culture, and also in my documentary, I show many beautiful scenes of Taiwan because it's especially the mountainside of Taiwan. It's fantastic. It's spectacle scene, and if they look at Taiwan, is very beautiful. Not only because most people only know Taiwan. There's only one city in Taiwan, Taipei, but there are still many places in Taiwan. For example, Alishan, it's a very famous and very beautiful mountain area, and that's one thing. And the other thing, again, I want to show, Taiwan Taiwanese people, they are always kind and friendly. And the other thing is, I think, your festival is very good for me because, especially for me, I'm an independent filmmaker. I don't have so much money because my film don't have so much money and many resources to explore my film. I believe through this film festival can let many people to see this documentary and to understand Taiwan. Yeah.
Well, thank you. That is our goal. That's what we want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Director Chen, I think we have run out of time. So thank you so much for participating in the panel and the question and answers with me today. As I mentioned, as a father, I found Phil's journey particularly touching, as you did.
Yes.
And touching also, in the good and bad, a little scary too, thinking if this could happen to me. But anyway, it was wonderful, and I wish you the best of success. We'd
Thank
also like
you.
to thank our sponsors for the TBFF 2021, Taika, Taiwan Academy, Watch Beam, and the Taiwanese United Fund. We encourage everybody watching this Q&A to check out our other content available from November 4th through November 12th. And we wish all of you a wonderful day. Thank you again, Director Chen.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
谢谢。
Okay, my English, I did not practice my English for a long time, but
It was fine. Don't worry, it's fine.
okay.
I think the viewer likes to hear the as you